Alright, so let's talk about evolutions in Ball X Pit. You know, those moments when your build suddenly transforms from barely surviving to absolutely melting everything on screen. Each evolution feels like a game changer, sometimes literally. 1 second you're rolling around dodging projectiles, and the next you're wiping out enemies with explosions that cover half the map. It's chaotic, it's flashy, and honestly, it's what makes this game so addictive. But here's the thing. Not all evolutions are created equal. Some look cool but barely scratch the enemies, while others turn you into a one-ball army that nothing can stop. And today, we're breaking down exactly which evolutions are worth going for and which ones you should probably skip. So grab your favorite combo, get ready to upgrade, and let's see which evolutions truly dominate Ball X Pit. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking evolutions in Ball X Pit. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The evolutions in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Shotgun, Vampire Lord, Hemorrhage, and Bomb. Alright, let's dive into the wild world of Ball X Pit evolutions that, well, honestly maybe shouldn't see the light of day too often. We're talking about the D tier, the evolutions that sound cool on paper but in practice feel like trying to swim through molasses. Grab your popcorn, because some of these are a bit tragic. In a funny way. First up, we've got Shotgun. Sounds intimidating, right? Big boom, spread everywhere, until you realize it shatters fast and totally wrecks your tempo after hitting walls. Imagine charging into a wave of enemies, thinking you're the hero of the day, only to watch your carefully built rhythm crumble. The recipe is egg sack plus iron, which honestly makes you wonder if the chaos is really worth it. Spoiler alert, it's not. Then there's Vampire Lord. Fancy name, terrible timing. This evolution brings a huge delay that absolutely kills pacing and control between your throws. You want to feel like a smooth operator? Too bad. It's more like waiting for your coffee to brew while the world burns around you. Made with burn and iron, it looks intimidating in theory, but in practice, it's the kind of evolution that makes you question your life choices mid-run. Next, Hemorrhage tries to be flashy, but ends up biting its own tail. It consumes stacks to deal a big chunk on one target, which sounds powerful, except when you're facing waves of enemies. One big hit is nice, but missing out on multiple targets? Not ideal. Its recipe is iron plus bleed, but in the chaos of a real match, it's basically a cool move bro evolution that under-delivers. Finally, the infamous Bomb. Oh boy, huge explosion, high base damage, and then a crippling 3-second cooldown that turns any momentum you had into a sad little puddle. Made with burn and iron, it could have been great, but that cooldown is basically a death sentence for tempo. Honestly, using Bomb feels a lot like setting up a fireworks show for one sad spectator. You get the spectacle, but the timing is all wrong. The evolutions in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Leech, Vampire Lord, Noxious Swamp, and Virus. Alright, let's wade into the murky waters of the C tier evolutions in Ball X Pit. These ones aren't disasters like D tier, but they also won't exactly make you feel like a legend. Think of them as the not bad, but could be better crew. Buckle up, because we're about to break them down, one slightly underwhelming evolution at a time. First up is Leech. Now this one is actually kind of fun. It clears waves and bosses, and the rolling magma it spawns stacks damage really quickly. Basically, it's like having a tiny lava pet following you around, smacking things for extra hurt. Its recipe is bleed plus brewed mother, and when you pull it off right, it can feel satisfying. Just don't expect it to single-handedly carry your run. It's more of a steady helper than a superstar. Next, we have Vampire Lord making another appearance. This time, it's less about delays and more about stacking bleed heavy enough to actually matter. You need patience, timing, and a bit of masochism, honestly. Recipe-wise, it calls for either bleed or dark combined with vampire. The payoff exists, but it's not going to wow you unless you really commit to that bleed strategy. Then there's Noxious, which promises area of effect destruction, but delivers numbers that underwhelm in practice. Wind or dark plus poison might sound like the recipe for chaos, but in real gameplay, it's more like a gentle puff of stink than a toxic tornado. It can help with crowd control, sure, but don't expect it to dominate the battlefield. Swamp is next on the list. This one slows enemies with tar and applies ticking damage, which sounds decent, right? In practice, it doesn't pack the same punch as freeze paths. Recipe is poison plus earthquake. giving you some tactical control but nothing too flashy. It's one of those evolutions that's situationally useful but rarely the star of the show. Finally, there's Virus. It spreads disease and messes with your enemies over time, but overall poison damage per second caps it from being truly scary. Poison plus Cell is the combo, and yes, it works, just not as dramatically as you might hope. It's reliable, subtle, and frankly, a little underwhelming. Perfect for players who like a slow burn rather than explosive chaos. The evolutions in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Storm, Assassin, Frozen Flame, Radiation Beam, and Inferno. Alright, let's talk about the B tier evolutions in Ball X Pit, the solid middle ground where things start to get interesting, but you're still not hitting legendary status. These evolutions can carry a run if you play smart, but they have their quirks, so let's break them down. First up, Storm. This one lets you chain wind travel through attacks with solid wave clear, which is satisfying for tempo lovers. It's like whipping up a mini hurricane across the battlefield. The recipe is lightning plus wind, and while it's strong, it still falls short compared to the top freeze line evolutions. Still, for keeping waves manageable, Storm is a reliable choice. Next, Assassin. This evolution is basically your backline sneak attack specialist. It can pick off enemies like a shadowy parking pass-through, but it really shines only when paired with the right trinkets. Recipe is Ghost or Dark plus Iron, and if you kit it out properly, it can feel downright deadly. Just don't expect it to carry solo without some support. Frozen Flame comes in as a versatile option. It's got a nice mix of utility and damage, but its ceiling is lower than pure tree evolutions, so it's not going to dominate like the big hitters. Made with Burn plus Freeze, it's great for players who like flexibility and adaptability mid-run rather than raw destruction. Then we have Radiation Beam. This evolution spreads stacks across enemy packs effectively, which is great for wearing down multiple targets. The recipe is Laser plus Poison, but its overall power is still limited by poison scaling. It's a solid pick for crowd control and strategic play. Just don't expect it to melt bosses as quickly as the heavy hitters. Finally, Inferno. Sweep damage with some fiery flair, but it lacks the freeze utility that makes certain evolutions top tier. Recipe is Wind plus Burn. It's fine for mid-tier clear and keeps things moving, but it won't change the outcome of a run by itself. Basically, it's reliable and flashy enough to be fun without ever feeling broken. The evolutions in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Wraith, Soulsucker, Blizzard, Glacier, Lightning Rod, Mosquito King, and Spider Queen. Alright, now we've reached the A tier evolutions in Ball X Pit, the ones that actually make you feel like a force of nature. These aren't just fun, they bring strategy, control, and straight up chaos in the best way possible. Let's dig in and see what makes them so satisfying to play. First up is Wraith. This evolution clears waves and bosses like a champ while spawning rolling magma that compounds damage fast. Basically, it's like having a fiery little army at your command. The recipe is Burn plus Earthquake, and when you drop this on the battlefield, it feels both brutal and oddly elegant. Perfect for players who love seeing numbers explode. Next, Soulsucker. This one's all about wide pass-through damage plus Blind, which buys you time and control even without combos. Recipe is Earthquake plus Wind. It's a clever evolution for tactical players. You can pick apart waves while keeping enemies from dictating the pace. Feels like having your cake and eating it too, while your enemies are too blind to notice. Blizzard is your go-to for freeze area of effect in a 2-tile radius. Great crowd control and safer lines than most starters make it extremely reliable. Recipe is Vertical plus Horizontal Laser. You basically get a freezing field that slows enemies down, giving you more breathing room and safer plays. Anyone who loves a methodical approach will appreciate this one. Then there's Glacier, which offers big freeze coverage but comes at a high cost. Recipe is Earthquake plus Freeze. It doesn't reach S tier just because of that price tag, but it's still excellent for controlling waves and setting up safer routes. If you want wide, icy dominance, this evolution has your back. Lightning Rod is a target marker extraordinaire. It tags enemies and unleashes periodic zaps to clean up nearby adds. Recipe is Iron plus Lightning. This one's great for keeping backline enemies in check without having to babysit every move, giving you freedom to focus on bigger threats. Mosquito King is a riot. It spawns ricocheting mosquitoes that track enemies, chip damage, and even heal you. Recipe is Broodmother plus Vampire. It's chaotic, slightly obnoxious for enemies, and endlessly satisfying for you. Think of it as the evolution that punishes sloppy enemies while keeping you topped off. Finally, Spider Queen. Pricey puff, but once online, it floods the back line with minions. Recipe is Egg Sack plus Brood Mother. It's one of those evolutions that makes waves feel effortless once you've invested in it. If you like seeing the battlefield filled with your loyal little army, this one's pure joy. The evolutions in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Magma, Sandstorm, and Holy Laser. Alright, now we've hit the S tier evolutions in Ball X Pit, the absolute legends of the battlefield. These are the evolutions that make you feel like you're cheating the game in the best possible way. If you want chaos, control, and damage all wrapped into one, this is where you want to be. First up, Magma. This evolution clears waves and bosses like a volcanic nightmare while spawning rolling magma that compounds damage fast. Recipe is Burn plus Earthquake. Watching enemies melt under this one is pure satisfaction. It's reliable, flashy, and perfect for anyone who loves seeing numbers explode in style. Next, Sandstorm. Wide pass-through damage plus blind gives you insane control, even without combos. Recipe is Earthquake plus Wind. It's like sending a swirling tornado of chaos across the battlefield. Enemies get disoriented, and you get to sit back and enjoy the show. Finally, Holy Laser. Hits almost everything and scales with any on-hit effect. Recipe is Vertical plus Horizontal Laser. If you want that everything dies eventually feeling, this evolution delivers. It's precise, devastating, and hands down one of the most satisfying ways to dominate the battlefield. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.